Go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stogie Geeks News for Friday, May 29th, 2015. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian, joined on the lines via Skype by Will Cooper.
Hey, greetings, everybody.
So these are going to be short 5-10-minute videos that are going to cover some of the latest news happening in the cigar industry. Will, I'll turn it over to you for the first story.
Well, it's first thing is that Drew Estate has announced their first line extension of the Nica Rustica line. And this is going to be an interesting size. It's going to be a 7 by 54 Bellicoso, which is going to be of the same Nica Rustica blend, that Connecticut broadleaf wrap blend. And they're going to call this size Belly. Kind of an unusual size for what I would say the set in a line, Paul. Wouldn't you say?
I'm sorry, you broke up there for a minute. It's an interesting size because...
7 by 54 Bellicoso is not your everyday size.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big Bellicoso. Usually they're a 6 by something. I think it's interesting, Will, that they released Nica Rustica in just one size, and now, quite some time later, are coming out with the second size. I mean, as a consumer, it's nice because you don't have to kind of figure out which size you might like best. It's one size. And this one's interesting because it's a direct-to-store release, right? They're kind of limiting the production until full production in September, correct?
Yeah, so what they're doing is it's kind of a direct-to-store. What they're doing is they're releasing it for an event at the store, and I guess they're going to be able to have that in September.
Yeah,
size in a Vitola, it was kind of an unorthodox one to pick.
Yeah, and well, I like the Nica Rustica blend, so I'm curious to see what it does in this belly size.
I agree. I agree. So it's something. I guess we should be seeing that, according to what I've heard, the end of July.
Excellent. And you've got some news from Perdomo that I'm very interested in, Will.
Yeah. So the next thing out of Perdomo is. Perdomo has announced a new line of cigars called the Special Craft Series. And the Special Craft Series, you're seeing a lot of stuff in the cigar industry right now. Cigars are being designed to be paired with some sort of a spirit or beverage, or they're actually maybe infusing some of the things in there. Infuse it. These are blends that are being specifically designed to pair with beers, and we've seen this with for example, we've seen this with Casado with the Oktoberfest. But I think it's unique. They're taking the Perdomo model and they're coming out with 3 different blends, and then the 3 different blends are going to be geared at 3 different types of beer. So you have one blend called the Perdomo Special Craft Pils. Ticket wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and filler, and that cigar really much is being geared at those lighter beers, the cream ales, the golden lagers, the white ales, the pilsners. So it's kind of a mild to medium profile as far as that goes. The Perdomo Special Craft Amber, which is using a sun-grown wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and filler, and those are going more with your ambers, your IPAs, your Oktoberfest type beers. Your classic lagers. This one is a Perdomo Special Craft Stout, which is their Nicaraguan Maduro blend over Nicaraguan binder and filler. And those are going for your darker beers, like your Bocks, your brown ales, your Dunkels, Imperial Stouts. So kind of an interesting concept that they're taking. They've kind of taken it, I think, to the next level with some.
Yeah, well, and I love the way cigar manufacturers do this, and I know that it sounds kind of hokey, but if you look in the past what some cigar manufacturers have done with specific pairings, I know CAO did a pairing for us. I know that there was another manufacturer that paired them with whiskey and scotch, and of course you have the Oktoberfest. And it sounds gimmicky, but every time that I've tried it, I've been very pleasantly surprised. So I'm really anxious to try all of these cigars from Perdomo and pair it with my favorite style beers in each of those 3 categories. I'm very optimistic that it's going to go really well.
Yeah, what I liked about this really was it's the Perdomo formula that they're using. A lot of their releases use the Connecticut, the sun-grown, and Maduro, and you tend to see that a lot. Now, I think what they're saying is not only are we going to stick to our model, we're going to show how this compares with the different types of lagers out there. So I'm actually real enthusiastic about this as well.
And you've got some distribution deals going on that you wanted to talk about, Will?
Yeah, a couple of distribution items that were announced over the past week. First of all, Casada Cigars has announced they're going to be the U.S. distributor for Matilde Cigars. And Matilde Cigars is the brand by Jose Seja. And the second distribution deal that was announced is that Espinosa Cigars is going to be the exclusive U.S. distributor for De Crassier Cigars. And I find, it's interesting. I find distribution deals, they are great for the companies or they miss badly. There's so they tend to either last a long time or they don't last long at all. The interesting thing I can tell you about the Espinosa deal, and I tell you, I actually met him over at Espinosa's office about 2 years ago. So there's a real chemistry with these two guys. It was like when I heard the announcement, my first reaction is long overdue. Long overdue. So I was kind of glad to see that because I think there's a real chemistry. Now, I can't say about Casada and Matilde, other than it seems like the way I read that is Matilde, rather than focus on the distribution piece right now, on their production end of things, being a small company.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've talked several times on the show about getting some of these cigars that we talk about, and some of these smaller boutique brands can be tough to find in certain areas. So I like to see these distribution deals happen because it means that some of these cigars that we greatly enjoy will be more readily available for our listeners out there.
Great point, because you and I have talked many times on the show about how we can't get the cigar in our area of the country. So that's a good point.
Excellent. Was there anything else, Will, for the Stogie Geeks news segment for this episode?
I think we are covered for this week, but stay tuned over the next few weeks as post a lot of news, and we'll give you some of the main highlights and give you some of these brief feedback and conversation on it.
Excellent. Thanks for watching.